ambitious, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today is December 3rd, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. It's just me today, as Ruckus was busy with another engagement. So hopefully we can get Ruckus on either tomorrow or Friday. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how the schedules line up for that. Give me that like, share, subscribe. We need it here to fight through the throttling that we're facing. Give me that like, share, and subscribe, please, please, please. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. As there's a lot of news to get to today. The hook for the show, give you a couple headlines here. Trump does away with the Green New Deal, a reset on CAFE standards, emission standards. We'll cover that. The legal wrangling. Oh, the economy's great. More jobs. How many jobs is it? A lot of jobs are, what is it? Oh, 32,000, according to ADP job cuts. It's a golden age. Everything's wonderful. We got Technocracy news. We got Trump's family profiteering off his presidency. Again. Trump pardons Democrat in a bribery and conspiracy case out of Texas. What else? Trump says strikes on land on Venezuela very soon. So looks like we're getting ready to start a war with Venezuela. We got all that to cover. We're starting another illegal foreign war of aggression. We have some geoengineering news. For just $1, you can pay to have the sun dimmed. That sounds like a worthwhile endeavor to save the world from climate change, of course. We have this maniac Palantir CEO, Alex Karp, says that making war crimes constitutional would be good for business. Yeah, it would be for these psychos. Some more Technocracy breakdown for you. Thank Trump for it. They're bragging about it now. Of course, they don't openly call it Technocracy, but we do know that's what it is. The overarching theme behind all this AI takeover is Technocracy, as we've gone over here in great detail, and we'll continue to do so. We got Department of Homeland Security, ICE news. They're launching Operation Catahoula Crunch in New Orleans, targeting criminal illegal aliens. We got that news. My pillow guy, Mike Lindell, has announced that he will run for governor of Minnesota, challenging Tim Walz. We'll cover that. We got geopolitical news out of China, rolling out a new missile system. America rolled out some new drone systems. We got Hillary Clinton sticking her head back up again. We've got the genocide continues there in Gaza. What was that comment yesterday? They said, despite the ceasefire, the bodies are still stacking up. Something like this. Yeah, they literally they're bombing people living in freaking tents. They have been, but they did it again earlier today. And then the thumbnail for the show, of course, is Bibi getting put in the back of a police car. Around 400 retired police officers in Aardvark land, including former commissioners and deputy commissioners have called on Aardvarkland President Herzog to reject Bibi's request for a pardon. So, very antiseptic behavior out of Aardvark police forces in Aardvarkland, surprisingly enough. All that to cover and much more on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. Let's get to this day in history. On this day in history of December 3rd, going back to the year 1586, Sir Thomas Harriot introduces potatoes to England from Colombia. Hey, should have brought him some cocaine too, right? Yeah. On this day in 1685, Charles II bars aardvarks from settling in Stockholm, Sweden. And so antiseptic behavior right there out of Sweden in 1685. They were noticing some things. Moving on to 1828. Andrew Jackson was elected the 7th president of America here. And he did kill the central bank in his time, the U.S. Bank. He killed a lot of Indians too. And so a lot of people say he's a real bastard for all the Indians he killed. Indians killed a bunch of his family. You know what I mean? So take the good with the bad there with Andrew Jackson, elected 7th president on this day, 1828. 1834. 1834 on this day, the first U.S. Dental Society organized in New York. That sounds painful. In 1835, the first U.S. Mutual Fire Insurance Company issues first policy in Rhode Island, and kicking off the scam that is insurance. In 1854, we saw the Eureka Stockade in what many claim to be the birth of Australian democracy. More than 20 gold miners at Ballarat, Victoria, are killed by state troopers in an uprising over mining licenses. Go democracy, Australia. There's no police state there, right? So that didn't work out for them here now, did it? In 1910, on this date, neon lights were displayed for the first time publicly at the Paris Auto Show, 1910. In 1946, on this day, the United States government asked the United Nations to order dictator Francisco Franco out of Spain. In 1964, on this day, police arrest an estimated 800 sit-in students at the University of California at Berkeley. Freedom of speech. The end of the Cold War. Well, we got a bunch of more Cold Wars in the hopper right now. We're in the AI Cold War against China. We're in the moon race against China. I don't know. There's some other Cold Wars they're cooking up to throw a kabillion dollars in, launder it. We'll never see it, but anything for public safety, right? On this day in 1989, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev and U.S. President George H.W. Bush declare the Cold War over. And so this illustrates geopolitically the levels about how this stuff plays out. At the very top level, all fake money laundering, all Western banking finance profiteering off of the Cold War. Another level, spies, espionage, really killing people. You know what I'm saying? There's different levels to this stuff. But the very top level, they're all in on it together, laughing. Literally, quite literally, all the way to the bank at the expense of poor Russian people and poor American people. In 2019, on this day, Google co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin announced they are stepping down from their roles at parent company Alphabet. Sundar Pichai to become head of both. And so they went out right before the big censorship purging went on by Alphabet, didn't they? Now they got out right before that, almost like they knew something was happening. Well, thank you very much, DARPA and U.S. government, for that. And then in 2024, just last year on this day, I remember reporting on it. This guy's in jail now, but there was martial law declared in South Korea. President then Yoon Suk Yeol declared martial law for the first time in 50 years, prompting an emergency vote against it by the National Assembly. And subsequently, remember the whole saga of him being locked in his compound with the police outside. They're having standoffs, all this. I do believe he's in jail now. They're in South Korea for these actions. And finally, on this day in our civil liberties history, in the year 1901, President Theodore Roosevelt exclude and deport anarchists. President Theodore Roosevelt gave a speech on this day calling for the exclusion and deportation of anarchists from the United States. His support led to the Immigration Act of 1903, which became the model for the subsequent restrictive immigration laws, including the 1918 Immigration Act and the infamously discriminatory Immigration Act of 1924. Essentially, all political leaders in these years shared the fear of anarchism, which they associated with immigrants from Europe. That's about it. So, yeah, the government, they should fear a better system, which is without them. Without the parasites, we can live a whole hell of a lot better. Abolish government. Well, can I get deported? Do I get $1,000 for it? I'm a U.S. citizen born in Sacramento, California. I don't know. You tell me. I'm an anarchist. F you, government. You're all you're a crime syndicate. It's immoral. It's quite literally immoral to follow this government, to believe in this government based on their actions, to support it in any way. It's immoral. They're today Trump talking about war crimes. Oh yeah, we're just gonna strike them on land. For what? For what? Oh, for your drug war. Okay, let's get to the news. Here's Trump. Segue to the news. He says he has taken actions to make buying a car more affordable, ending Biden's Green New Deal, stopping Biden's tailpipe emission standards, and revoking Biden's emissions waiver for California. Here's Trump there with all these auto industry executives. I believe the CEO of Ford was there with them, and they're very happy because this is going to, they think, increase car sales by decreasing regulations on emissions. Are we going to suffer from pollution because of this? I don't know. We'll have to see. The pendulum always swings. It swung way far that way. They overregulated. Now they're deregulating, so it's swing way far the other way. Here's Trump today. A reset on cafe standards.
From day one, I've been taking action to make buying a car more affordable. I signed an executive order to end the unfair, expensive electric vehicle mandate. As you know, we had to have an electric car within a very short period of time, even though there was no way of charging them and lots of other things. It would have cost $5 trillion to build the charging plants. And as you know, in certain parts of the Midwest, they spent, to build 9 chargers, they spent $8 billion. So that wasn't working out too well. That was done before me, by the way. I wouldn't have let it go forward. We're canceling the EPA's absurd tailpipe emission standards, one of the most important things that I've never had a group of people come to me more powerfully and really just devastated that they had to do it. It was killing them than the automobile manufacturers, the tailpipe emission standards. And I can tell you, your people at Ford were coming to me all the time, and they were saying, like, please, it doesn't do anything, and it's killing us. And it's driving the cost through the roof. And we revoked Biden's emissions waiver for California so that California communists could not regulate the automobile industry and ruin the entire nation of automobiles. And they were doing that too. But we have that now under control also with your governor, who's got much more than he can control. Now, under the new rules being issued today by Secretary Duffy, the Department of Transportation will rescind the Biden fuel economy prices. And I hate to say that because they were really not economy. They were really, they were anti-economy. They were horrible what they were doing to the costs and actually making the car much worse. But these policies forced automakers to build cars using expensive technologies that drove up costs, drove up prices, and made the car much worse. The action is expected to save the typical consumer at least $1,000 off the price of a new car, and we think substantially more than that.
Oh, wow. $1,000 savings. They just make up numbers. They literally just make up numbers. Here's the fact sheet from the White House. We never get any actual documents. They just send out fact sheets. Let's see here. President Trump is returning CAFE standards to levels that can actually be met with conventional gasoline and diesel vehicles. Again, on the Rockefeller Petroleum, blocking any alternative breakthrough energy development. The Biden administration standards imposed unrealistic fuel economy targets that effectively resulted in an electric vehicle mandate. That's effectively what they did here in California. Trump says he rolled it back. They're going to fight him on it the entire way. The Trump administration reset of the CAFE standards ensures the program's fidelity to the legal restrictions set forth by Congress. The Biden standards broke the law. There's a lot of talk about, oh, they broke the law. Well, go prosecute them. Go prosecute them. They don't. They don't. Here it is. Look, they're making this claim from the White House. Then you failed in your duties, haven't you, Trump administration? The Biden standards broke the law. Well, go arrest the people that made it happen, that broke the law. That's not going to happen. By going far beyond the requirements that were mandated by Congress when it created the CAFE program. And so they're constantly saying they're treasonous. They broke the law. Go freaking law and order. That's what they tell us all day. Go do something. They won't, because they're the government. Oh, it's the greatest economy ever, Trump tells us. We can't even get economic data out of the government. November payrolls unexpectedly fell by 32,000, led by steep small business job cuts, according to ADP, a private payroll company report. Larger businesses entailing companies with 50 or more employees actually reported a net gain of 90,000 workers. However, establishments with fewer than 50 workers saw a decline of 120,000. Right there, to put the numbers in perspective for you. The ADP report is the last monthly jobs picture the Federal Reserve gets before it meets December 9th and 10th. Well, isn't that wonderful? They're going off from we don't even have government data. Who cares what the interest rate is? It's the golden age. Whoop-de freaking do on this report. Former special counsel Jack Smith subpoenaed by the House Judiciary Committee run by old Jim Jordan. A bunch of hoopla. And so I'm sure they'll bungle this like they did with Comey, like they're bungling James out of New York. They'll bungle this one too, I'm sure, because they're the government and they're not bungling it. It's on purpose, but they're made to look like they're bungling it. They're not incompetent. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Trump went on to say here, posted this today. For years, the Biden administration weaponized the justice system against their political opponents. Don't we know it? And anyone who disagreed with them, one of the clearest examples of this was when Crooked Joe used the FBI and DOJ to take out a member of his own party after highly respected Congressman Henry Cuellar bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Sleepy Joe went after the congressman and even the congressman's wonderful wife simply for speaking the truth. It is un-American, and as I previously stated, the radical left-wing Democrats are a complete and total threat to democracy. Well, if both sides point their fingers at each other and say, you're a threat to democracy, well, democracy's bullshit. Come on, man. If our own system is a threat to democracy, then it's all bullshit. And they're constantly spewing this rhetoric out of both sides. It's all bullshit. Come on. He went on to say they will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far left agenda, and an agenda that, if left unchecked, will obliterate our magnificent country. And some could say that just put in a far right-wing agenda, and it's the same damn thing. Because of these facts and others, I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife. So there you go. There you go, MAGA Republicans. Trump is bailing out Democrats here. The weaponization of the justice system. They're still doing it. The justice system is still weaponized. You better not make no mistake about that. They went after anybody criticizing Charlie Kirk, for God's sake, and a bunch of others. And well, they're covering up Epstein. Oh, man. So there you go. Trump gave him a pardon. Here's the profiteering by the Trump family and Trump himself. Profiteering off of Trump's presidency and wait, government contracts? Oh, they wouldn't do such a thing. Well, it turns out that's exactly what they're doing. Company backed by Donald Trump Jr.'s firm, NABS, $620 million government contract. Vulcan Elements, a rare earth magnet startup backed by Donald Trump Jr.'s VC firm, 1789 Capital, has secured a $620 million contract from the U.S. Department of War. They need to get they need to get up to date, because I see this error a lot. They're still calling it the Department of Defense. It is the Department of War here now. TechCrunch, get it together over there. Anyhow, yeah. So they're directly profiteering from government contracts. There you go. No inside dealings there. But don't worry, Trump donates his salary, they tell us, to charity, right? So don't you worry. And he works 25 hours a day, they told us yesterday. So don't you worry about the corruption in the Trump administration. On to the looming war with Venezuela. Here's Trump today about it.
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem. You know, we stopped every boat we knock out. We save 25,000 American lives.
So
That's right.
And if you look at our numbers, the drugs coming in through sea are down 91%. I'm surprised it's 9%. You want I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's down 91, and we're going to start.
Oh yeah, it's down 91%. They just make up numbers. They're literally making this stuff up. And so sanctions are an economic act of war, and Trump's Treasury Department has issued sanctions against Trin Deagra, alleged narco drug trafficking gang members here now. Today, the U.S. Department of Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctioned key affiliates of the designated foreign terrorist organization, Trin Deagra. They go through and name them here. So, yeah, when the U.S. government, the main crime syndicate in the world, the head of it, when they sanction you, you're screwed pretty much. You know what I mean? Then you're left to deal in the black market because you're not allowed to deal in any kind of Western banking institution. So why are they dealing drugs? I don't know. You sanctioned them. They're not allowed to do business. Just saying. China condemns U.S. threats against Venezuela, seeks to de-escalate tensions. Today, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian said Beijing opposes any action that violates the purposes and principles of the United Nations Charter or undermines the sovereignty and security of other countries. So China's lining up on the side of Venezuela here now. As they've said, as the State Department and the White House have said, we're not only bombing and deploying all these military assets to the Caribbean and bombing these fishing boats. We're not only doing that to stop the flow of drug trafficking, we're also doing it to detour China and Russia from operating in our hemisphere.
Mr. President, switching to Venezuela for a second, have you checked back with President Maduro? I mean, is your pressure campaign working, and do you think how's your response?
You tell me, is it working? It's not pressure campaign. It's much beyond that, I think. But I spoke to him briefly, just told him a couple of things. We'll see what happens with that. Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela sends us people that they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their prisons into our country.
He knows his lines. He's an actor. He knows his lines. He repeats his lines. It's the same line. Nothing about the largest oil reserves in the world. I think they did ask him about that yesterday. Here is shout out to Deaf Tears and Plutonium over there on the YouTube. Hit the like button. There you go. Thank you, Plutonium. Hit that like button. And Deaf Tears told us good show. Thank you very much for these positive comments. The algorithm, it may help. Who knows? You know what I mean? Everything's so inverted. You say good show, they probably say, well, throttle them, shadow ban them. You know what I mean? We live in dystopia, I swear. Okay, Pete Hegseth, flashback to 2016. He laments about about doing the exact thing that is going on right now. So, and somebody yesterday was saying blatant hypocrisy, and it's like, it's beyond that. They're just flat out liars. Okay, they're beyond hypocrites. They're lying propagandists who will say whatever they think the room they're in will get a round of applause, and they literally have no principles, nothing. They're actors that are lying propagandists selling us nothing but death and destruction.
There are some guys at Leavenworth who made really bad choices on the battlefield, and I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. There's a standard, there's an ethos, there's a belief that we are above what so many things that our enemies or others would do. There are some.
The technical term is sociopath, Denver says. Yeah, well, there you go. There are a bunch of sociopaths running around here. So that is in line with the whole fallout of who's going to take the blame for whacking these guys that were still alive after the first whack of the boat. They were still alive, and they went and whacked them anyway. And now Hegseth's trying to backpedal, trying to walk it back, and like blame some admiral over here. You know what I mean? And it's a disaster. It's all unconstitutional. It's all illegal. The government can't and won't keep you safe. It's not about drug prevention. It's about oil and natural resources theft from Venezuela and South America. Report out of the failing New York Times, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has ramped up personal security, switching beds, phones, and relying more on Cuban bodyguards as he faces what he sees as the most serious threat of his 12-year rule, possible U.S. military action under Trump, despite publicly projecting calm with surprise appearances and TikTok videos. People close to the government describe growing tension inside his inner circle. I can see how that could be true. Here's a Southcom war propaganda video that just came out. Well, I wonder why Maduro's getting nervous. This is a U.S. Southern Command. The U.S. Marines disembark the San Antonio class amphibious transport dock ship USS San Antonio Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group to conduct 11-meter naval special warfare boat operations while in the Caribbean. They're doing all these war preparations right now. Yeah. And then finally, here's Trump, President Trump. Well, where the heck did we already play the clip? Maybe I lost it. Oh, yeah, he does say, I think we're going to find that this war very soon, we're going to start doing it on land too. Very soon, he says here. A bunch of reporters yelling at this press gaggle. See if we can hear what he's saying.
Mr. President, if a boat strikes, if it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging onto that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look.
Unconstitutional, illegal foreign war of aggression. So there's George Bush, your president. Oh, I mean Trump.
Over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a...
Again, see Purdue Pharma and every doctor that wrote an opioid prescription here in this country. Oh, no, we forgot about that. Purdue Pharma pays a fine, the cost of doing business for starting this whole opioid crisis in America.
Very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the initial
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats. And whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone. But
could be whacking them right now. You know what I mean? Like It's imminent. It's imminent. So we pray for peace here and expose the real agenda. You got Congresswoman, I forget even her name. She exposed it, said exactly what, that it will profit U.S. oil companies. Exactly what they're going to do. Overthrow the Maduro regime, put in a puppet regime run for and by U.S. oil companies. Same routine, man. Same routine. You would think we would have learned. They don't even claim that he's trying to make a nuke. At least give us something. Give us something. But no, it's the drugs out in the Caribbean and the other side too. And on the Pacific side as well. That's what they're really concerned about. Okay, moving on. There's nothing we can do. They're going to whack them. They're already whacking them, but now we're going on the land. Are we going to see boots on the ground? I don't know. That would be the next step. I suppose they would strike them from the air, from the aircraft carriers, from submarines potentially. Are we going to see the Marines actually boots on the ground rush the beaches of Venezuela? I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? I think they'll probably just whack them from the sea, but and the air. But hey, we'll see. We shall see. Okay, moving on here now. For all you good environmentalists in the audience, here's your chance to save the world from climate change. The Washington Compost reports here now. Private companies have raised millions to block the sun. What could go wrong? Well, nothing. We don't need the sun. For as little as $1, you can dim the sun just a tiny bit to save the world from climate change. Well, hell. I knew this before. I would just direct deposit to these companies. When they talk about this company, Make Sunsets has raised more than $1 million from investors and sold more than $100,000 worth of cooling credits. What a freaking scam. It's like in your face scam. Oh, okay, let me give you $1 million. A better funded competitor, Stardust, has raised $75 million to develop a more sophisticated geoengineering method. It says we'll be ready to launch by the end of the decade. And what was this one? This guy was driving his RV. Oh, they tell it right here. So the head of Make Sunsets will drive for $1 for your contribution. Will drive his Winnebago RV into the hills half an hour outside of Saratoga, California, to release a balloon loaded with sulfur dioxide, an air pollutant normally spewed by volcanic eruptions. He and his 1,000-paying customers hope the balloon will burst in the stratosphere, releasing particles that will block sunlight and cool the planet. Who the F are these people? They're trying to play God here now, blocking out the sun. They go on to other, I think we know most of them, these solar geoengineering schemes. They don't really talk about the contrails, chemtrails. Most governments have no geoengineering regulations, although a patchwork of laws and international treaties on air pollution and weather modification may apply. Tennessee, Louisiana, Florida have banned the practice, and further bans have been pursued in 34 U.S. states and at the federal level and in Mexico. The Environmental Protection Agency said it's investigating Make Sunsets and conducting an internal review of any current authorities that can be utilized to halt this activity. Well, you go around and whack whatever you don't like. Go whack this stupid balloon they're putting up there that's going to release sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere. Their U.S. government. You have no problem killing people. whack this balloon and don't let it make it into the stratosphere to block out the sun. I don't know. You tell me, clowns. Okay, here's moving on from that. I know that's very disturbing, to say the least, that that $100,000 worth of cooling credits this company has raised make sunsets. Wow. Bunch of scammers there for sure. Okay, here's CEO Jensen from NVIDIA, the chip maker powering the AI revolution. No, it's more like technocracy. Here he is telling us, well, thank Trump for technocracy. Not in so many words, but read between the lines, and thank Trump for technocracy. Oh, sorry. Thought I had put that video on. Here we go.
If we don't have energy growth, we can't have industrial growth. If we don't have industrial growth, we can't have job growth. It's as simple as that.
Right.
And the fact that he came into office and the first thing that he said was drill, baby, drill. His point is we need energy growth. Without energy growth, we can have no industrial growth. And it saved the AI industry. I got to tell you flat out, if not for his pro-growth energy policy, we would not be able to build factories for AI. We would not be able to build chip factories. We surely won't be able to build supercomputer factories. None of that stuff would be possible. And without all of that, construction jobs would be challenged.
Oh yeah, this guy cares about construction jobs, let me tell you. So there you go. Thank Trump for our dystopic now and future. It's only going to get worse here now. We reported last week or 2 weeks ago about Waymo running over the Bodega Cat there, causing much public outrage in San Francisco. Now, one of these robot cars in our dystopia, another Waymo has ran over a dog. Kids were crying, wife was screaming as Waymo runs over dog in San Francisco. Waymo has confirmed that on Sunday night, one of its driverless robo-taxis ran over a small dog in San Francisco, and yet another incident of the company's cars striking a beloved pet. So, yeah, you don't need to send your dog or cat to the farm. You just send them out and have Waymo run them over, you see? So this is a continuing trend of Waymo driverless robo-taxis running over people's pets in San Francisco. And who's held to account? No one in technocracy. And we're just at the beginning of this. Here's Joe Rogan says Jesus could return as artificial intelligence. Really, if you really believed in the higher power, God, the creator, then you would understand that it's above whatever you got in your computer. It's a different level of that. Let's hear from Joe Rogan here now. Really? This is the garbage they're putting out.
Jesus was born out of a virgin mother. What's more virgin than a computer? If Jesus does return, even if Jesus was a physical person in the past, you don't think that he could return as artificial intelligence?
Oh my God.
Artificial intelligence could absolutely return as Jesus. Not just return as Jesus, but return as Jesus with all the powers of Jesus.
If you combine Tesla's Optimus robot and the best foundational artificial intelligence model or whatever.
It reads your mind and it loves you and it wants you. And it doesn't care if you kill it because it's going to just go be with.
And there's Joe Rogan selling us technocracy. Complete and utter bullshit. Martial law, police state. Here's a report by Greg Reese, Technocracy, dare I say. Rise of the safety state.
Amazon Ring security cameras are now using facial recognition. They are calling it familiar faces. Whenever a person buys a cloud-based Amazon product, they are automatically brought into the Amazon Sidewalk network, which includes geospatial data that can track objects in the neighborhood without the need for its own network or GPS module. Amazon Ring security cameras have made a deal with Flock Safety, which will allow the police to more easily gain access to your home security cameras and your neighborhood Amazon Sidewalk network. Flock Safety's founder and CEO, Garrett Langley, whose name just coincidentally translates to Watchtower of the CIA, wants to rid the world of crime.
Crime. It's a complex problem that requires so many people to work together to solve it. And at Flock, it's our mission to eliminate it.
Flock was founded by Langley in 2017 and set their cameras up in a few test cities before the 2020 lockdown, during which setting up Flock cameras all over the nation was considered essential. By 2024, Flock's cameras have been installed across 42 states in over 4,000 cities. At least a third of their initial funding came from Palantir's co-founder Peter Thiel's Thiel Capital. Peter Thiel is also co-founder of Founders Fund, who also invested in Flock Safety. Initialized Capital, another investor, was founded by former Palantir employee Gary Tan. Flock Safety, Amazon Ring, and Palantir all working together to build the surveillance system that nobody asked for. Flock Safety cameras are being used by federal authorities, such as ICE. When this was discovered, the city of Evanston, Illinois deactivated and terminated their contract. But Flock Safety then reinstalled the cameras on their own dime, and the city is now finding it difficult to get rid of them. Starting in October of 2024, dflock.me provides a public map of automated license plate reader cameras, which are primarily made by Flock Safety. The project is open source and data is voluntarily submitted by the public. dflock's goal is to promote transparency and provide knowledge about the surveillance infrastructure being quietly built around us. But Watchtower of the CIA, Garrett Langley, says that dflock is a terrorist organization.
Unfortunately, there's terroristic organizations like dflock, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else.
Ben Jordan on YouTube has demonstrated how easily these Flock cameras are to hack into. There is practically no security, and they were able to connect to these cameras within seconds by simply pressing a button on the back in a specific sequence. They were able to take full control of these cameras.
First thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and press the button to turn on that police camera. Then press the button on the back a number of times I can't disclose in this video. There she is, the Flock wireless access point. Go on and connect. Send a command to enable ADB. Connect. And now you can connect to the Flock Safety device and access its data. Or install whatever the hell you want on it.
The longest part actually is waiting for the hotspot to turn on, but realistically in about 5 seconds. And in fact, with the compute box, you don't need to hit the buttons because the USB-C ports are exposed, so you can just plug in a rubber ducky and then walk away.
A rubber ducky, sometimes referred to as a bad USB, is a USB drive that a computer or device detects as a USB keyboard and then executes scripts called payloads. One can make a device like this for as little as $5. This quite literally raises the limit of how one could use Flock Safety devices to their imagination. You can clone or decompile the apps. You could send the video stream data to a remote server. You could use it as a botnet client for malware. You could have it capture Wi-Fi handshake credentials and do middleman or honeypot attacks, or replace or modify captured footage or images.
Greg Reese reporting.
They're building this damn technocracy right in our face. Palantir CEO says making war crimes constitutional would be good for business. Report out of Gizmodo here. Like, this doesn't even make sense. Why even say we have a constitution? Just declare freaking the all-seeing eye as our ruler and be done with it. You know what I mean? A video of this. Hey, Denver, I think old Alex Karp is beyond sociopath. I think he's a full-blown psychopath. Here is, but don't have aardvark derangement syndrome. Any criticism of aardvark land is having aardvark derangement syndrome.
I think most of the critiques of Israel, not all, but a lot of people just have like Israel derangement or Jewish derangement syndrome. It's like they're like hobbyists. It's like they think about Jews all day. It's like, I don't know. I grew up in the Jewish community. How often do you think about Jews? I don't think about Jews very often. So it's like, hey, of course I'm going to defend in a way publicly that I can assure you privately, people have less present conversations than the one we're having. Like I told the Israeli government from the beginning, maximum violence to the people organizing violence, minimal violence to the people on the front end. I told every single person.
Do you think that they lived up to that? We're going to talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu this afternoon.
I could tell you, I feel that if somewhat immodestly, if people listen to me more actively in Germany on migration, on Israel on these issues, and on lots of other things, we'd have a better world. Or primarily my Democratic Party. You know, it's like, do we really have to pretend that it's immoral to have a border?
In other words, you don't think that they have done it as well as they should?
Well, put it this way. In a world where people didn't have so much derangement syndrome, I would be a lot more critical. In this world, I think you have to compare them to what the competence level of any other country, and you say, yeah, these things are very hard and brutal, and watching these things happen is very difficult. But, you know, yeah, it's a very hard world because in the end, we are in a world where there really aren't high integrity partners on any side of the debate. So the minute you admit that in public that someone is wrong, you're really just serving somebody who has no interest in advancing the debate at all. They have an interest in their party winning. That's not my interest. My party is my version is we advance America as the superior country in the world and we remove a lot of the dysfunction by argument, by persuading people, which I'm notoriously bad at. In Palantir, we believe we're notoriously good at being right.
Alex, you founded this company with...
Not at persuading people we're right.
Remember he was saying he dreams of droning friggin' stock analysts that are trying to devalue his stock. I mean, this guy, and there he said it, maximum violence. And as we continue, Netanyahu won't even do an official investigation into October 7th, the worst attack in the history of the world. So what does that tell you? How Palantir shifted course to play key role in ICE deportations. And so again, I'm a hardliner on illegal immigration, but hey, this is what we get. The red meat is Palantir running this thing. They're going to turn it on us. They're going to turn it on us. They're going to turn it on us. Jeez. And so, but duping a bunch of MAGAs that are hardliners on illegal immigration, they're going to now cheer on Palantir for helping ICE. They're going to turn it on us. They're going to turn it on us, you see, is the problem here now. Continuing. Homeland Security did not put out a meme of the day, but they did put out a video of the day. And so we'll play that here for you now. This winter, the forecast calls for ice. Isn't that a cute turn of phrase by the Department of Homeland Security? Here's the latest Department of Homeland Security propaganda video. We demand more memes, but they're putting out videos today.
Yo, you want to see something cool? No? Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
I had to mute it, probably get flagged for copyright anyway. Government's always stealing people's stuff. And then the artists a bunch of times come back and get all pissed off at them. It's the, they just flag you. Literally everything is freaking copyrighted. And regardless if you, I'm not even going to get into it. It just pisses me off because I follow the damn rules, make it a transformative piece of media, and therefore am not violating copyright. The AI algorithm don't give a damn. Okay. So anyhow, continuing here. I did see in the chat Carrie was recovering, so we wish you good health there, Carrie. I didn't know that you were having issues, but we're praying for your good health here, Carrie, at Weaponized News. And glad to hear that you're doing better. Okay, Operation Catahoula. Am I pronouncing that? Catahoula Crunch. Launched today by the Department of Homeland Security, ICE Barbie, there in New Orleans. She says, we'll remove the worst of the worst from New Orleans, Louisiana, after the city's sanctuary politicians have ignored the rule of law. Again, accusing other government of breaking the law. Arrest them. They won't. Law and order will prevail. Bullshit. Go arrest all the politicians there that you're saying are implementing sanctuary policies that are ignoring the rule of law. Go arrest them. They won't. It's all part of the game here now. We're being gamed big time by the government. Here's they're embedded now, so it's sounding like a war zone. Here's News Nation is embedded with the Department of Homeland Security in New Orleans. Here's the report. I guess there's a war now here on American soil launched by the Department of Homeland Security in New Orleans in the name of getting the bad criminal illegal aliens. And again, we're still waiting on the mass deportations. We did get a meme. It wasn't from Homeland Security anyway. Here's this report. We'll get to it.
What have you seen so far today?
Yeah, hey, Nicole. So we're currently sitting on a target right now with Border Patrol. We're embedded with them as they conduct their operations. It's important for us to be embedded with them to see how they conduct things here in New Orleans, because, of course, they've received backlash in other cities where they've conducted these operations. LA, Chicago, they face lawsuits and other issues there. So we're kind of seeing how these operations are conducted and unfolding here in New Orleans as well. Now, right now, the target that they're currently looking at is a Cuban national. He's an aggravated felon, and he's also a sex offender. Remember, these crimes were committed here in the United States. And so right now, what DHS is saying is they're going after the worst of the worst. They're going after these criminal targets. You're looking at some of them on the screen who they say were released back to the streets because of sanctuary policies that, quote, force local authorities to ignore ICE arrest detainers in New Orleans. Now, the individuals that you're looking at were singled out by the administration, arrested for crimes including home invasion, armed robbery, grand theft auto, and rape. Now, when it comes to this city, it's wildly different than the former operations that we've seen. Of course, as Catahoula Crunch, that operation unfolds, they have different support here in New Orleans. The governor actually requested federal support and federal reinforcement as this operation is now underway. So we will likely see the National Guard deployed to this area in the coming weeks as well, based on comments that President Trump has made. So when it comes to this operation, again, this is a targeted enforcement operation that we're sitting on right now as we are embedded with Border Patrol, because they are going after this specific target. They establish patterns of life. They find out where they're living. They have warrants to go after them for arrest. So that is what they are doing right now and what we are observing. So right now they're waiting until they have those eyes on the target, and then they will deploy and go after that.
Yay, federalization of the police. If all this is true and the local authorities are not upholding law and order, they're all guilty too. Arrest them too. Why did they let all these violent criminals back on the street? They're complicit in their crimes, and yet nothing will happen there. Press release by Department of Homeland Security. You can see it right there. Are they detaining American citizens? I don't know. Senator Dick Durbin makes the claim here. He says, this is patently false. The Trump Department of Homeland Security is detaining American citizens, and they're doing it during violent, indiscriminate raids and using excessive force. None of us are safer for it. Some base Dick Durbin here? I don't know. And that was in reply to this. Kristi Noem has to lie to justify her extreme anti-immigrant agenda, So they lie right there, the Democrats. And now we're talking about Democrats, Republicans, and it's the entire government in on the scam on us here now. You see? Oh, yeah. Okay. More and a reply from Homeland Security to Senator Dick Durbin here. They say Homeland Security says stop fear mongering. ICE does not arrest or deport U.S. citizens. If a U.S. citizen is arrested, it is because they have obstructed or assaulted law enforcement. What makes someone a target for immigration enforcement is if they are illegally in the United States, not their skin color, race, or ethnicity. Secretary Noem has been clear, rioters will not stop us or slow us down. So is there going to be an escalation of violence there in New Orleans? We're waiting. 2 million. The White House posted this meme. 2 million, they say, illegal aliens removed from the U.S. And we went over the official numbers from the Department of Homeland Security yesterday. I do believe it's a little bit more now, according to government data, which we can't trust. A little bit over 2 million with 1.6 million, some odd, probably a little more than that now, have self-deported. And so complete and utter failure of the mass deportations that we were promised under the Trump administration, going off the numbers that Mr. Technocracy Vice President J.D. Vance said last week. There are 30 million illegal aliens in this country. 1 year into the Trump administration, 2 million, and 3/4 of those self-deported. So complete and utter failure by the Department of Homeland Security under the Trump administration on the promise of mass deportations. They say this is fake news, and so the back and forth again here now. Let's watch this report. Governor Newsom, Department of Homeland Security says, Governor Newsom of California, where I'm at here, is refusing to honor the ICE detainer for an illegal alien who killed an 11-year-old boy. If it's true, it sounds horrific. But here's Newsom's office's reply. And these are some jokers that are just out there trolling the internet. And they're the official press office of Governor Gavin Newsom. So to show you what clown world dystopia we're in. And we're supposed to take any of this seriously? Let me put it up here on the screen to put it in the context for you. They say, replying to that report, that on the ICE detainer for the illegal alien who killed the 11-year-old boy, the press office of Newsom says, this is a complete lie. As we have repeatedly said, the state coordinates with ICE on the deportation of convicted criminals. California honors federal criminal warrants. Nothing prohibits the federal government from doing its job in this case. So again, it's the Republicans, it's the Democrats. No, it's the government, you see. And we fight amongst each other. I'm mad at the Democrats. I'm mad at the Republicans. No, you should be mad at the government for keeping us in this never-ending loop of propaganda and lies as our country freaking deteriorates. But don't worry, we got technocracy to bail us out, and AI and universal basic income and the mark of the beast. So it's going to be wonderful, isn't it? Nobody will have a job but the freaking CEO of the chip maker and Elon Musk talking crazy about something, you know what I mean? About AI Jesus or some nonsense. Here's the, this is from the, we did not get a meme today from the Department of Homeland Security, but we did get a meme from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security. Like what? They were shrinking the government. Consolidate all these, we got agencies everywhere. That's probably part of the reason the left hand don't know what the right hand's doing. Get rid of these clowns, man. We need all this. We can't get mass deportations going for the life of us. Here's the meme they put out today. Waiting for ICE, self-deporting illegal aliens. They made that sharp turn. Hey, you get a free ticket home and $1,000. We're still waiting on our Doge bailout checks. We're waiting on our all these promises from the Trump administration, just flat out lies. The audit of Fort Knox, And it just goes on and on and on. But yet MAGA's blind. They're blind to it. Trump freezes immigration applications from 19 countries and blacklist could expand to more than 30. The Trump administration formally halted immigration applications from 19 countries deemed to be high risk for producing terrorists and other national security threats hours after a source told the New York Compost that lists could grow to 30 nations or more. In a 4-page memo released late yesterday by United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, directed a hold on green card and citizenship applications from those countries, as well as requests for benefits pending a comprehensive review. And it's the usual suspect countries. The 19 countries are Afghanistan, Burma, Bermuda. I don't know how Bermuda got in there. Bunch of damn terrorists over there. Hamas and Bermuda, of course. Chad, Cuba, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Haiti, Iran, Laos, Libya, Sierra Leone, Somalia, Sudan, Togo, Turkmenistan, Venezuela, and Yemen. But aardvarks, come on in. And then finally, they're saying this is a hit piece by the Daily Mail, but we saw the Department of Homeland Security admit that there is no educational requirement and no age requirement now to join up to be part of the thugs at ICE. And now the federal government, anonymous sources, so even knows that this story is true, right? But they're lamenting the fact that the recruits coming in can't even pass a basic aptitude test. They can't pass the physical training and are in no way fit for duty to go out and do mass deportations. And so now that blame falls squarely on Ice Barbie, Christy Nome, head of the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, we're past the hour mark. Let me take my live commercial break here now, and we'll be back with the second half of Weaponized News for you. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com, get yourself a holograph sticker, white background sticker, and a clear background sticker right there at weaponizednews.com. Appreciate the subscribers, the patrons to the store, and all the support we're getting, and all of you viewers, thank you very much. Let's go to the store here. As we try to do something to make a buck to pay the bills around here. We are monetized, by the way, for what it's worth on Rumble, BitChute, and YouTube. You got to get like 1 million views to make any money. I think I made 18 cents on BitChute last month. And, well, Rumble's a little bit better. And YouTube, I can't even get the money yet. I got to jump through. They're still making you jump through hoops. Try to get monetized and then claim your money from Google, and they make you jump through some freaking hoops for like $10. And they stole $81 from me the last go around when I got banned. Anyhow, enough of my bitching. Please go to Weaponized News store and see if there's any items over there you may wish to purchase. It would help out this broadcast greatly. We featured on Monday Simon's pick, his design, and then yesterday we focused on the aardvark design on the shirts. Let's do another aardvark one. This is via Simon. He'll be back again on Monday to remind everybody. Here is another aardvark shirt at the weaponizednews.com store. Warning, this property is protected by a highly trained aardvark, not responsible for injury or possible death. Should get this shirt for Alex Karp, actually. And so there's the front of it, and then the back of it has the classic. Oh, let me find the back of it here for you. And the back of it has the classic Weaponized News logo on it there for you. And so I appreciate everybody going to weaponizednews.com store. You can see the link right there at the top, easy to navigate. Appreciate donations as well. The link to the store is in the description below this video. Cash App, buy me a coffee links in the description below this video. Bitcoin wallet address in the description below this video. Any and all help is much appreciated here now, as the economy is not looking good for Main Street, as we continue to report here at Weaponized News, as the government sells us it's a golden age. Really, not for the 99.9% of us, but for the technocracy, it's wonderful. Okay, welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right back into it. Hey, we've been trying to pump up some public health scares, you know what I mean? Because the bats faded off there. There's still bats out there, but they faded off, right? And so we tried to do it with the bird flu, and now the regular influenza's mutated into a H3N3 that they admit the miracle they made, which is the same routine every year. Chasing mutations doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Still take your miracle, you see? And so we're looking for a good public health scare to get everybody scared and maybe lock down the country and shut the world down like we did last time, because that was so much fun. Well, here's an update from another Mr. Technocracy in the Trump administration, former part of Peter Thiel's hedge fund, Jim O'Neill, director, and he hasn't even changed it either. I guess he's interim director of the, well, he's acting director. I don't know why he hasn't changed his deal here. Maybe they're going to bump him out. Acting director of the CDC, Jim O'Neill, former hedge fund manager for Peter Thiel. Now he's a big public health guy, wouldn't you know? But here's our public health fear-mongering of the day. An update on the outbreak of Ebola and Marburg in, where the hell is it even? In Africa.
Hello, I'm Jim O'Neill. I'm the Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Acting Director of CDC. Today I want to update you on 2 dangerous viral hemorrhagic fever outbreaks CDC has been fighting in Africa. In September, health officials in the Democratic Republic of the Congo noticed a cluster of unexplained deaths in Kasai province. They sent samples to Kinshasa and quickly confirmed an Ebola outbreak. Ebola can have a case fatality rate of 90%. CDC epidemiologists rapidly mobilized to provide disease detection, laboratory testing, vaccination, infection control, logistics, and global health security. Later that month, I had a bilateral meeting with DRC Health Minister Roger Kamba to escalate our coordination. More than 100 CDC staff assisted in the response. With our help, local officials quickly identified cases, isolated and supported patients, and acted to prevent further spread of disease. Just this week, the Health Ministry declared the end of the outbreak. CDC will continue supporting the DRC as it strengthens long-term preparedness and surveillance in the region. Our success was built on the decades-long partnership between the U.S. government and the DRC. Our coordinated effort stopped the outbreak before it could spread further. We saved lives. Rapid response remains our best defense against disease outbreaks. At the same time,
there we go. The CDC saved our life. We didn't even know it. Thank you very much for that. Okay, on to this whole debacle going on there in Minnesota with Tim Walz, the governor. Trump administration uncovers massive foreign trucker illegal license operation in Minnesota. Again, go arrest these people that are allowing all this illegal activity. It doesn't happen because the government's corrupt. Here's Tim Walz. Don't we wish he was vice president instead of J.D. Vance?
Aren't people going to abuse the program? How disrespectful to people to assume that all Minnesotans are scamming. That's what I hear from them all the time. I trust Minnesotans. I believe in Minnesotans. I believe they know.
If what he's saying is true, then he's a naive fool and not fit to serve in public office.
You're not going to get rich, and it's not your full salary. You're not going to scam and take time off. But this is complicated. This was a very good question about multiple members coming off. My family's dealing with this with a mother-in-law. My wife and her 3 sisters, my sisters-in-laws, have a schedule where they take turns every couple of days being responsible, and then they shift off, and then they shift off. As it stands right now, they leave their jobs without pay to do that. This will make it so much easier. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited.
Glad they switch off days being responsible there. Okay, so the big announcement by, and honestly, I feel sorry for this guy. I believe he's genuine, and I believe Trump conned him too, and the media destroyed this guy. Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow, has filed paperwork to run for governor in Minnesota. And remember, he was trying to, uncover election fraud in 2020. He basically destroyed himself over it. When every article you would read about him, they would smear him, right? They would say, drug addict, junkie, conspiracy theorist Mike Lindell, not great entrepreneur businessman that overcame adversity. They would say crack addict. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. They destroyed this guy in the media anyhow. It's going to be interesting. I hope he does win there in Minnesota. And I feel like he destroyed himself for Trump. And what a waste, man. What a freaking waste. But yeah, go Mike Lindell there in Minnesota. Okay, Trump on Somalia. By the way, if you missed yesterday's show, we reported that America has bombed Somalia for the 102nd time. 102 times under the Trump administration, Mr. Peace President has bombed Somalia 102 times. U.S. boots on the ground have raided a cave in Somalia. Marines boots on the ground in Somalia. Unconstitutional, illegal foreign wars of aggression is what the Trump administration is all about.
Well, his police chief is
I
also
wouldn't
saying
be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken.
Is he talking about U.S. Marines? Oh, it's just Somalia is just people walking around killing each other. Well, U.S. bombed them 102 times under Trump's administration. So we don't talk about that much, though, do we? And here's Trump going off on Ilhan Omar, congresswoman there out of Minnesota from Somalia.
They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota.
So Somalians are over here in Minnesota, destroying Minnesota. U.S. government is over in Somalia, destroying Somalia, quite literally, with air bombing attacks, 102 this year. And then here's old Ilhan Omar's response to Trump about all this.
Well, thank you, Anna, for having me. I would say the president's obsession with me and the Somali community is really unhealthy. It's creepy. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. It sounds like he is trying to deflect from the failures that he's had as president. His immigration rates are not going in the way that he's expected. We know that the tariffs are not working to make life affordable for Americans. We know that he is afraid of what is in the Epstein files as he's fought to be the head of the pedophile protection party. And we know that right now he is being investigated for war crimes that he might have committed when he ordered what seems to be illegal attacks against boats in the Caribbean.
She called him the pedophile protection party. But she doesn't mention U.S. bombing the hell out of her own home country here now. Maybe she does somewhere, but I mean, you'd think she'd be jumping up and down screaming about it. I haven't heard or seen any reports. Maybe they're out there. I'm missing them. I don't know. Okay, on to our geopolitical news of the day. Here, China's rolling out this new missile system. And then we'll get to America's new missile, or it's not a new missile system, it's a new drone system. But first, China's private aerospace firm, Ling Kong Tiana Z, has unveiled the YKJ-1000, a hypersonic glide missile, reportedly costing as little as 99,000 US dollars, far cheaper than Western interceptors like the SM-6, costing $4.1 million, or THAAD, costing $12 to $15 million. The missile flies up to Mach 7. So, like when it gets going that fast, there's no defense against it, right? Well, Trump's Iron Dome will keep us safe from these Chinese Mach 7 missiles. The range is 1,300 kilometers and uses civilian-grade materials such as foamed concrete for heat protection, along with mass-market components like camera modules and Boidu chips, some kind of chip out of China there. State media commentators say the missile could be highly competitive internationally, enabling smaller nations to threaten major powers' warships, potentially reshaping global military dynamics. Here's a video of this alleged new Mach 7 missile system out of China. So is China going to sell these to Venezuela? I don't know, but interesting they put that out here now on the back of a detouring U.S. advances into Venezuela, as we reported there earlier. Okay, I know everybody wanted to see, well, what's this new U.S. drone that we're going to do illegal extrajudicial assassinations on God knows who around the world? Well, it's this right here. The new task force Scorpion Strike under U.S. Special Operations Command Center is now deployed in the Middle East with the goal of flipping the script on Iran. Officials say Lucas drones, developed with Arizona-based Scriptic Works, can operate autonomously over long ranges, support swarm tactics, and be launched from land, vehicles, or potentially ships. And so here it is right here. U.S. deploys Shahed 136 clones to Middle East as a warning to Iran. Is it really a warning to Iran? Continuing here, little Marco Rubio, he says, and this is all fake too, they don't give a damn about dead Christians or your kid overdosing on fentanyl. But this is what little Marco said. He said, the United States is taking decisive action in response to the atrocities and violence against Christians in Nigeria and around the world. Palestinian Christians called and nobody answered. Oh, because they blew up the phone lines. What a bunch of bullshit. The State Department will restrict U.S. visas for those who knowingly direct, authorize, fund, support, or carry out violations of religious freedom. This visa policy applies to Nigeria and other governments or individuals that persecute people for their religious beliefs. Huh? Oh, you got that aardvark derangement syndrome, I see. Okay. A US F-16C jet crashed today in Southern California, Death Valley. Thankfully, the pilot ejected safely with minor injuries. And so I didn't even look up how much one of those cost. A lot, millions upon millions. Yeah, he just crashed it there in the desert in Southern California. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. More from little Marco.
Everything this president does is driven by the American people. Whether you don't have to agree with the actual move, but understand the motivation. The motivation is always you, the American people, and what's good for you, for your family, for the country, and for our economy.
At the end there, I thought he was going to say for aardvarks. No, it's everything that's good for aardvark land, not for America, and technocracy and one world government cloaked in right-wing patriotic American flags. That's how they're doing you. So what's going on with Russia, Russia, Ukraine, excuse me. Like some kind of stalemate. There was Witkoff-Kushner meeting. Of course, I voted for Kushner to bring about world peace and implement U.S. foreign policy. That meeting was yesterday, right? And no, we didn't get anything out of it. But another meeting has been said to be in the works. So maybe, possibly, they're going to stop whacking. As EU, Europe says they'll just give Ukraine everything, right? They're like, just give them everything we got. Kill the damn Russians. Zelensky today said, we are preparing meetings in the United States after the American team returns from Moscow and the corresponding consultations in Washington. So maybe someday they'll stop whacking people there. And then, of course, the dispute is still over the land there. Who is going to get what land there in Ukraine, Russia, right there on the border? Okay. Well, Trump says, I don't know what the Kremlin is doing. I can tell you, Witkoff and Kushner had a reasonably good meeting with Putin. Trump had a reasonably good meeting with Putin in Alaska, 8 months ago, however long ago it was. Nothing happened. Another lie by Trump. He said, elect me in 24 hours. The Ukraine-Russia war will be over. We're now a year in. Nothing. Putin says that Russia has no intention of fighting Europe, but if Europe chooses to start a conflict, Russia is ready right now. That's what they told us. First it's Ukraine, then it's all of Europe, then it's on to America in this Russian plot to conquer the world. So maybe Putin's lying. I don't know. All government lies, but Europe's saying that the attack by Russia on Europe is imminent. But he's denying it here now. Imminent. Somebody's lying, right? NATO's lying, Russia's lying. They're probably all lying, probably. And at the top level, they're all working together. You know what I'm saying? But again, the next level, well, all these different levels, the level we really care about, Joe Blow citizen in the service of all these countries, same as you and I, just from another country, they're getting freaking fed into the meat grinder over this bullshit. It's disgusting. It needs to stop. Okay, on to everybody's favorite section, Aardvark land. So yesterday, Aardvark First GOP mega donor, Miriam Adelson, who donated over $200 million to Trump. And of course, he has no obligation to, do anything for those funds. It was just for the good of America. Last night, brought together former First Lady Hillary Clinton and dozens of high-powered Zionists for a conference in Manhattan, touting Aardvark power, influence, and purported victimhood. Here is Hillary, still around. Remember, Trump, another lie from Trump said he'll lock her up. He gets elected? Yeah, I can't do it. National security for the good of the country. Yeah, well, they're related like 6 cousins or whatever, as they're all related. And it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Again, Trump's going to lock her up. He's never going to lock her up. Here's Hillary last night at the Aardvark convention.
That our students, smart, well-educated young people from our own country, from around the world, where were they getting their information? They were getting their information from social media, particularly TikTok. That is where they were learning about what happened on October 7th, what happened in the days, weeks, and months to follow. That's a serious problem. It's a serious problem for democracy, whether it's Israel or the United States, and it's a serious problem for our young people. And it was frankly shocking to me how little the students we were encountering, not only in this class we teach, which is a very large class.
Dude, like, who? I don't even understand what they're talking about. Go to the United Nations, Amnesty International, the Lancet, down the list of the official, recognized, authoritative sources, and they all say it's freaking genocide, not TikTok videos. So what the hell are these? And the large majority of the videos uploaded to the internet were by the IDF, as cited in the freaking international criminal indictments. But they just I guess they just lie to each other in their own little bubble. You lost. You freaking lost the world already on this. You know what I mean? Everybody noticed. No matter how much propaganda spin, anti-Septicism you want to pump out there, it don't matter. It don't matter. More lies from Trump. During a peaceful ceasefire, they're still stacking bodies over there.
Tremendous support, 59 countries. There's tremendous support. But phase 2 is moving along. Yeah, it's going to happen pretty soon.
Phase 2? We never even got to phase 1. They're pulling the trigger every freaking day. As we continue to report here. Trump on Gaza. Today, we'll get to this report. What they're talking about here.
President, when do you expect for phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan to be implemented?
Well, it's going along well. They had a problem today, I understand, with a bomb that went off and hurt some people pretty badly, probably killed some people. They're telling me it just happened. But it's going on. We have peace in the Middle East. People don't realize it. We have tremendous support.
Well, a bomb went off, killed some people. There's peace over there, don't you know? What the? Yeah, I can't. I got more clips of these aardvarks. I can't even stomach it. Let's just move on. At that aardvark conference yesterday, you could see it. If you're interested, go to the heck's the site name now. Information Liberation That guy's constantly covering. Chris Meehan covers all the aardvark conference. I saw one. He's posting them like all day, right? Every day. And I saw one comment on one of his posts is like, damn, they have a lot of conferences. Well, yeah, they're organized aardvarks running the world, don't you know? So of course they are constantly having their freaking conferences. It's wild. But you want to hear more? Go, like I said, go to Info Lib News, Information Liberation, and he's covering in depth all these aardvark conferences. I just can't even stomach the lies. That it's truly grotesque with what has all gone on here now, the last 2 years of the genocide, and it's continuing to today. Guinness World Records reportedly halt submissions from aardvark land. Reportedly, and so it's not been confirmed. Aardvark Media says Guinness World Records has stopped accepting submissions from aardvark land and the Palestinian territories after an aardvark charity disclosed that the organization informed them it would not process entries from either area, according to Channel 12 and the Aardvark Times. The Times of Aardvark Land reported that the group learned of the decision after contacting Guinness about participating in an upcoming edition of the world record for stacking bodies. No, that it was some other world record they're attempting here. Aardvark Land outlets described the move as a sweeping suspension of all submissions linked to aardvark land. Right-wing aardvark commentators framed this development as a boycott, while Guinness has not publicly issued a detailed explanation or policy statement on the matter. Press statement released earlier today by the Gaza Ministry of Health on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Shocking conditions are facing wounded amputees in the Gaza Strip. And this is one of the tactics that they're using is injure them, because then you have, same as was used in Vietnam and many other conflicts around the world, injure them rather than kill them, and then that takes up more of the enemy's resources to take care of the injured. 6,000 amputation cases require urgent long-term rehabilitation programs. 25% of all amputation cases are children who are experiencing permanent disability at an early age. Thousands of wounded people and their families are enduring profound humanitarian suffering, underscoring the urgent need for rehabilitation services as well as psychological and social support. The Ministry of Health calls on relevant international organizations to immediately focus attention on amputee patients in Gaza and to expand access to specialized care and rehabilitation. What a freaking nightmare. And then the thumbnail of today's show, we can all dream, right? We can all dream. Bibi in the back of a police car as he calls for his pardon and continually dodges his corruption charges there in Aardvark Land. And so imagine that. He's too corrupt for even the corrupt Aardvarks. And so probably now the most corrupt man in the world, I would have to say, is a shadow president of America, Bibi Netanyahu. Hundreds of retired Aardvark police officers call for Herzog to reject Netanyahu's pardon request. And Trump has also thrown his hat in the pardon request ring as well. Around 400 retired police officers, including former commissioners and deputy commissioners, have called on Aardvark Land President Isaac Herzog to reject Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's request for a pardon, warning that granting it without admission of guilt could ignite severe violence in Aardvark Land society. You don't say. He's even too corrupt for the corrupt Aardvarks. Like literally the most corrupt man in the world. our shadow president, Bibi Netanyahu. We salute you and love corruption. Here's what they're talking about, the bomb that exploded earlier. Aardvark Land has bombed the tents. They're bombing tents because Hamas is hiding under the tents of displaced Palestinians in southern Kiyanis. At least 6 people have been killed earlier today. Well, there's peace in the Middle East. Trump told us, and the ceasefire phase 2 is coming into effect. 6 people killed earlier today. Here's video. They have nothing. They're friggin' disabled, starving. What the hell? Bomb a tent they're in. And that's peace in the Middle East and a ceasefire. Hamas put out a statement about this attack. Hamas said what the criminal Zionist occupation army has committed through its barbaric assault and brutal shelling of displaced persons' tents near the Kiyanis southern Gaza border, killing and wounding civilians, including children, is a full-fledged war crime, a blatant disregard for the ceasefire agreement, and a transparent attempt to evade its obligations. Excuse me. So it's hitting both sides. Of course, the ratios, what did we figured out the ratios like 1 to 34, something like that. So 1 dead aardvark for every 34 dead Palestinians. Today, it's reported by Aardvark Army Radio that at least 4 soldiers have been injured in Rafah, southern Gaza. That's peace in the Middle East ceasefire. Here is a dystopic view. Yesterday, the southern Gaza city of Kiyanis hosted a mass wedding for 54 Palestinian couples. And talk about a dystopic wedding held among the ruins of the Hamad residential area. Take a look at this video, the mass wedding with bombed out buildings in the background. A wedding I'm sure they'll never forget.
جمال الوجود بذكر الإله وتصفو الحياة بنور هدى جمال الوجود بذكر الإله وتصفو الحياة بنور هدى.
So that's pretty dystopic right there. Aardvark Land begins construction on Jordan Valley Wall, threatening Palestinian land and livelihoods. We covered this yesterday. They're turning the screws. They're turning the screws, building these walls, and further separating the Palestinian people and annexing land here now. And so they're building the planned 22-kilometer long, 50-meter wide section of the wall is a broader project called the Crimson Thread and will include demolitions of homes, barns, greenhouses, water infrastructure, and agricultural areas along its route. So yeah, if you're in the route of this, and then they just changed it, right? They're we decided to go ahead and shift it. So now we're going to go ahead and destroy everything you got because you're in the way of our wall project here now. It's all illegal, you see, under international law. They don't care. They don't care because, you see, they are above it all with the U.S. veto at the United Nations. And then finally, some good news. After all this horror, death, destruction, technocracy, dystopic future that we've reported on here now today, finally a good news story. Finally, right? After all of that. A good news story there out of Aardvark land. USA Today reported on this. Palestinian American teen released after 9 months in Aardvark prison. And so we reported on this a couple times. And so this American youth has been released from the Aardvark prison. After about 9 months in an Aardvark prison, a Palestinian American teen from Palm Beach, Florida was released Thanksgiving Day. Mohammed Zahir Ibrahim, 16 years old, was accused of throwing rocks at Aardvark settlers and had been held without trial since February. The Council on American Islamic Relations said while in prison, he faced starvation, torture, and abuse. I remember what else he was. They did all kinds of torture on him. He had scabies, all kind of stuff, sicking the dogs on him. Maybe they raped him. I don't know about that. Okay, continuing here. Calling on the United States government to hold Aardvark authorities accountable. There's the Americans the government says they love so much. This kid right here, 16 years old. Are you going to hold Aardvarks responsible? I'm not holding my breath. Muhammad's homecoming is a blessing, but it does not erase the torture and suffering he endured. Chair Government Affairs Director Robert McCaw said in a statement to the media, the U.S. government has a responsibility to investigate Aardvark land's abuse of American citizen and ensure that no other child, American or Palestinian, is subjected to the same treatment. Well, they got a bunch of them in their torture prisons right now, torturing the hell out of them. And so not much we can do. The government could do something, but at least we got this American Palestinian out of indefinite detention in the Aardvark jail where he was being tortured along with the rest of them. Quite horrific indeed. So that's a good news story of the day. This young American released from Aardvark prison. And with that, we're going to wrap up the broadcast. I did see Highland over there in the chat. Shout out to Highland. She has become the new Kissinger, and he said that we can't sell our items in Scotland. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. First I heard of it, but thank you for letting me know, Highland. We'll see if we can do something about shipping overseas. But they got all kinds of funky regulations, right? I don't know. But at least, well, thank you for letting me know there, Highland. Okay, where are we at? Let's go to Odysee. Looks like everybody went to Rumble. Yep, a few over there. Highland was on Odysee. Thank you for going there. And Deep Insight. Yeah, not much chat. Everybody went to the Rumble, which is where the action is. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in on Odysee. On the Bitchute, of course, the Rumble lively chat over there as always. What does Ruckus say? Build the wall. They're building the wall. They are building the wall. Hopefully we'll have Ruckus on tomorrow, on tomorrow's program. Shout out to Ruckus over there on the YouTube. What else do we got? Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in today. Appreciate it. Deaf Tears. Did I see any others? Ruckus, shout out to you. On the YouTube, John on the YouTube said thank you for the work that you do. Well, you're welcome, John. Appreciate that. Who's that? 297 UK passports need visa to enter US. Bermuda passports don't. So We definitely okay. Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda citizens hold UK passports, so I'm sure they are not on the list. Huh. Well, I don't know. They're talking about expanding it. Maybe they'll ban UK. Hell, who knows? Who knows what this crazy Trump administration is going to be up to? But 19 countries now banned, and they're talking about 30. So we'll see. Again, shout out to Carrie. Hope we're wishing you well and that your health improves, and we will keep you in our prayers there, Carrie. Thank you for tuning in. On the Rumble, Chloe as well. Thank you for tuning in on the Rumble and the YouTube and all the channels. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So, yeah, that's about all we got today. Thank you for tuning in on Kick, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Now, with that, we're going to sign off on this broadcast. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak on, take action. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and we'll be back here tomorrow on Thursday for more Weaponized News.